So I always get these people coming on my channel and commenting wherever I am that Hitler was not a Christian. Okay, that's a big, huge misconception, and I'll explain why. Now, according to this article by this man named Richard, his name is Richard Carrier blogs. His name is Richard Carrier. He is a researcher, and he wrote an article about Hitler's table talks and how it came about that people actually think that Hitler was not a Christian. Number one, people mistranslated the books from the propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels. Okay, they mistranslated his diary to say that Hitler hated Christianity, which literally means that that narrative does not exist. That Hitler hated Christianity. That narrative simply does not exist. And it goes on to say that the table talks are also unreliable since it was mistranslated, and we will go on to talk about this further. You can read this book by Hugh Trevor Roper and the English editions of Hitler's Table Talk and Testimony. This article consults this Michael Nilsson, the saga of all about whether Hitler was Christian or not. According to the research of Nilsson combines this with a study of the Last Testament of Adolf Hitler, also procured by Gunnode somehow. So Gunnode is this guy who translated the propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels' books and his diaries, as well as the table talks in which people claim to say that somehow Hitler was not a Christian. And they say that the table talks, they're Hitler's inner circle, and therefore they say that Hitler hated Christianity, which absolutely was a lie, and we'll explain why. So, Nilsson combines his study about the Last Testament of Adolf Hitler, also procured by Gunnode somehow, who contracted with Trevor Roper for an English translation, This document has famously been suspected of forgery by most experts, like the Hitler diaries, also authenticated by Trevor Roper. Who is this guy? Who is this Trevor Roper? So, Trevor Roper is later known as Lord Dacre, was an eminent British historian and wartime intelligence officer. He became famous for investigating Adolf Hitler's death, resulting in his acclaimed 1947 book, The Last Days of Hitler. He went on to serve as the Regius Professor of Modern History at Oxford University. However, he is accused of misleading the public or lying regarding Hitler's views on Christianity because he endorsed and edited an English translation of Hitler's Table Talk that relied on an unverified, heavily distorted French text instead of the original German notes. This fabricated version painted Hitler as aggressively anti-Christian while cutting out statements where Hitler spoke favorably of a creator. Recent archival evidence reveals Roper knew about these flaws but kept them hidden to protect his financial and professional interests. So there you have it. I provided the source of where this entire fabrication that Hitler was anti-Christian, now you know where it comes from. It comes from that guy named Trevor. His name was Trevor Roper. That's where this entire lie that Hitler was against Christianity comes from him. From his mistranslations and him lying about the table talks and about Goebbels' diaries, okay? And so now you understand, Christians, okay? It's number one, it's Christian propaganda to think that somehow, somehow you think that Christianity had nothing to do with murdering 6 million Jews. Somehow you think that Hitler wasn't a Christian. Well, I just proved to you, okay, with a tiny research, and I'll put the description, in one of the comments, I will put the article of the entire idea where Christians get this idea that Hitler was not a Christian, okay? So, for all of you who say that Hitler was not a Christian, sweetie pie, a legacy tainted by forgery, says the internet, right? While mainstream historians agree Hitler was never an orthodox Christian, instead of holding a warped anti-Semitic concept called positive Christianity, Trevor Roper's actions severely distorted the academic timeline of Nazi religious history. This controversy permanently damaged his legacy as a source. So this person that translated Hitler diaries, right? This controversy permanently damaged his legacy as a source critical historian, the guy who made up the story that Hitler was not a Christian. He lied about it, right? And therefore now all Christians use that as their go-to, and they get accused of producing Hitler, who murdered 6 million Jews, okay? And now we can go on to discuss how Hitler and where Hitler got his ideas, you know what I'm saying? The Nuremberg laws, like where he got his ideas to stick Jews in ghettos, to murder Jews, and where it stems from in Christian canonical law. We can also go down that route. It's not going to look good for the Christian.